Hello and a very warm welcome to this week's Scene on 7. I'm Steve Brennan. Now there's not a lot to talk about on the sport front this week except to say that excitement is building to fever pitch, especially in my house, in anticipation of the FA Cup final, where of course Chelsea are going to beat Manchester United. Watch out Man United, here we come. Meanwhile, here's the rest of the menu on this week's Scene on 7. We talk speed, how to kill it and not to kill yourself. We hit the ice with the Slough Jets. Elaine Ford talks to the players. And we visit the Spelthorne Arts Centre to meet a very important lovey, Mr. Kenneth Branagh. Music while you swim. We set the scene at the Windsor Leisure Pool. Mr. Tony O'Rourke has that report. And my studio guests include Helen Draycott from the Crown Prosecution Service and Verity Walker from the National Trust. Now, the government's latest initiative on motoring accented this time on speed. If you've been watching television this week, you may have seen the new advertisement. It's so hard-hitting and shocking that it's only to be screened after the 9 p.m. watershed. If you haven't seen it yet, I urge you to do so. We sent Russ Stevens out to see just how this message can be brought to the attention of all of us motorists.
We're at the East Berkshire College today, which is in Windsor, and behind me used to be a Ford Cortina. All that remains now is a mass of metal. Now, the person driving this car was fortunate enough to actually get out alive with just a broken collarbone. We're here to find out more about the Berkshire Speed campaign, which is being run by the Thames Valley Police. Andy Bryans, you're an officer of the Southern Traffic Area. Tell me, what's the object of the Berkshire Speed campaign?
It's to fall in line with the government's reduction in road casualties, RCR 2000, whose aim is to reduce road casualties by a third by the year 2000.
Why is this area being targeted?
This area, together with the rest of the Southern Traffic Area, which is basically the whole of Berkshire, is being targeted in order to reduce road casualties by reducing speed. Windsor area is being seen today because they are one of the main sponsors of the Berkshire Speed campaign.
How long will the campaign actually run?
Campaign will run till about midsummer, and then we have a summer drink drive campaign to take over from it.
Keith Aird, you're the field sales manager for CAFCO. Tell me, why have CAFCO helped sponsor the Safety Through the Valley campaign?
Well, CAFCO Automotive are a major supplier to Thames Valley Police themselves for their own fleet, for the vehicles that they use, panda cars, speed pursuit cars and the like. And because of that, they asked us whether we'd be interested in helping them sponsor them for a safety campaign, which is very important to us. I mean, we sell brakes, shock absorbers and the like, and we're only too mindful that there are many cars on the roads these days that aren't fitted with the right equipment, unsafe on the roads and lead to accidents.
Tell me, how long are you actually sponsoring the campaign for?
Well, this particular campaign with the police is to run for the whole year. Obviously, it's going to run mainly through the spring and the autumn, and we'll be attending with the Thames Valley Police to a variety of shows, county shows and the like, to help support them in their campaign.
I have with me John Addison, who's a speed enforcement officer. Tell me, John, how does it work?
This is a Muni-equipped device, which when I point it up at the traffic coming towards me, it throws a signal out in a circle, hits the vehicle, and the signal is sent back from the vehicle to the action computer in the gun, which gives a signal and records the speed of the vehicle.
Can you use it in any type of weather?
Yes, you can use it in all types of weather. It's pretty versatile, very versatile in fact.
So John, let's see it in action.
As you can see, it's showing 0.
Yes.
When I press the trigger, the speed of the vehicle comes up on display.
Right.
And you can see it fluctuating up and down.
That car coming down now says 27 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're very visible with the jacket and everything. Do you feel that you actually see people slowing down?
Yeah, the main thing, the jackets have got to be worn for your own safety.
Right.
I mean, it's safety first in any job now.
Yes.
It's a surprising number of people who are oblivious to what a yellow jacket means.
Right.
And still carry on speeding.
Okay. And someone's speeding, how do you actually stop them? Obviously you use your arms.
I step out in the road,
right,
stop the vehicle, lock the speed on the machine, and I actually show the driver the speed recorded at the time, so there's no dispute.
What's the driver's reaction?
Majority of them accept it. You might get one or two who like to kick up a fuss about it, but majority of them accept it.
So, the message from the Thames Valley Police and the Safety Through the Valley campaign is kill your speed, and hopefully this initiative at the East Berkshire College will enable you to do just that.
An important issue, I think you'll agree. Thank you, Russ. Now, to discuss this matter further, with me in the studio is Sergeant Mark Hogarth and PC Roger Thompson. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Nice to welcome you to the studio. A bit warm in here than it is out on the beat.
Yeah, very much so, yes.
Good. Now, you're on the Thames Valley Force, and you're attached to that southern area traffic, and in particular, a new section which you work for is called the Accident Reduction Office. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, it's a new concept. The idea of it is that we look at a new approach to speed enforcement, which will be data-led. In other words, we're looking at where the accident black spots are and targeting our resources and speed enforcement towards the accident black spots. And also the other side of it is, which we think is very important, is the driver education side of things.
As I said in the introduction, if viewers have seen the first advertisement in this initiative, it's very, very hard-hitting stuff indeed. So much so that we're not allowed to show it before the 9 p.m. watershed. It's a great basis for your initiative. Roger, what else is to come in the series?
There is a sequel to the advertisement which is being shown at the moment, which is very much along the same lines, and I think it is important to be hard-hitting. It's a serious matter, and it needs to have some impact.
Would it be fair to suggest that the bulk of speeding offences are committed by young drivers or drivers in the younger category without putting a specific age limit on it?
No, I think it's very much across the board, but what if we look at actually accidents themselves?
Accidents that involve speed?
Yeah, accidents that involve speed. We're looking at about a third of all injury accidents involve speed, and the highest risk group in that are young drivers between 17 and 24.
The last advert that was on TV featured the gravestone in the middle of the road, and it kept being impacted by a car. I think we can see it on screen now. Did that have a great effect? Did you get much response to that one?
Yes, as with all the advertisements, they need to be hard-hitting. There have been several people who've commented on that particular advert. It's not meant to be offensive. As I say, it's a serious matter, and I think it does bring the message home how serious it is.
What are the main aims in this particular stage of the initiative?
The main aim, the overall aim, is for us to be able to come in line with, as we've already heard earlier on, with the government's initiative, that is to reduce road casualties by a third by the year 2000. So we're working towards that. Speed is a part of it, and as I said, the other part is driver education.
You've actually, there's already been a preliminary to this, if you like, in that drink driving has now virtually been eliminated. It still occurs, but it's become socially unacceptable. Is that tagged onto this particular campaign, Roger?
Yes, this is our overall aim, as you rightly say, that drink driving has become unacceptable. That is our aim now, to make speeding equally as unacceptable.
I don't know why they just develop horns when they get behind the wheel. I'm going to overtake you, your car's not as fast as mine. Are the car manufacturers to blame in many respects by advertising the fact that their car can perform like a racehorse? You see them, performing on the television during commercials. Are they to blame?
I think they have a duty. Obviously they want to sell vehicles, but they do have a responsibility in the manner in which they portray their vehicles, yes.
And they're, of course, developing, they're putting features on like the airbag, anti-roll bars, that sort of thing is encaged in most cases.
I think an important point to add on to that is actually how people drive the vehicles and drive accordingly.
It's their responsibility.
It is their responsibility. Anybody can get behind the wheel of a car and drive fast. I think the thing to do is adjust your speed accordingly to conditions and exactly what sort of area you're driving in.
In the new advertisement, it's very, very hard-hitting. The one with the girl actually comes back as her ghost and says why you were speeding, you were going too fast. Very, very hard-hitting stuff, but I think anyone would be left in no illusion otherwise if they came to see the aftermath of what you guys have to deal with every day of the week.
Yeah.
Would you suggest they came and saw it?
Yeah, it would be totally impractical, obviously, to take everybody out with. What we do encourage is people, we do offer them the opportunity. In fact, it's something that happens quite regularly, is people do come out with us and see what happens. But yes, but that's the impact of the advert, as we've said, is people actually saw the carnage that goes on the roads and dealt with it firsthand. That would, no doubt, shape their opinions on how they drove.
There are some speeding sequences in the police stop video. What's been the result of that? Because it's been selling incredibly well. We've actually featured it on the programme previously with the guy that helped produce it. What's been the effect of that, Roger?
It's there are different views from different sections of the public that have seen it. Most say they've enjoyed it. I'm not sure in whole whether it brings across the correct message, but it does portray
realistic.
what we have to put up with in some instances.
Finally, how do you expect to improve the general driving standards of motorists? I'd like both of you to answer that, because you've obviously both got your opinion as well as the police opinion.
Yeah. It's twofold, as I said. We'd like to raise, firstly, in people's minds, the fact that we are looking at targeting certain areas, and we're quite happy to publicise that in both the press and on arenas such as this, where we're actually doing it. Now, by doing that, we hope to raise people's awareness of the fact that if they speed, they're likely to be caught. And I think it's very important that we shape that message in people's mind and get that across, because it will affect the way they drive. And the second part of it is the driver education side, which perhaps Roger could expand on.
What we're hoping to do is to run better driving courses, which members of the public will be invited to participate in the effort to raise the awareness of their driving ability at a basic level. Then we will then hope to encourage them onto better driving courses with a recognised body.
They can get that information from any Thames Valley police station.
If initially they came to us at the accident reduction office at Taplow, we'd be happy to give them that information. Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much for coming in, gentlemen. I know it's a busy day for you, and I hope you enjoyed yourselves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good luck with
Thanks
the rest of the campaign. Let's hope it has the desired effect. Speed is again the subject of our next item. Whether it's safe or not is debatable. You wouldn't catch me on a pair of these things for all the money in the bank. We're blessed with a diverse range of sports in the region, both as a spectator or a participant. There aren't many ice hockey teams in various regions, but we have our own. They're called the Slough Jets, and our reporter Elaine Ford went along to meet them.
Hi, welcome to Slough Ice Arena. We're here today to meet the Slough Jets. Today is a very important match for them, and the atmosphere is really hotting up. Now, the Slough Jets have been dubbed the most consistent team in British Division 1, and tonight, as they play off against the Romford Raiders, if they win by 5 points, and if Medway beat Peterborough, then they actually get promoted to the Premier Division next season. So, fingers crossed, time is marching on. Let's go meet the team before they play off. You're the manager of the Slough Jets. How long have they actually been together?
We've been formed for 8 seasons now. We're in our 8th season. We originated in 1986 when the ice rink first opened its doors. And, you know, we've been going since then. I mean, we've been a successful organization since we first started. And I think, you know, Slough as a town is quite proud of what we've achieved to date.
And where do their players actually come from?
Well, originally, I mean, the players themselves, when we first put the team together, came from all over the place. I played for in Streatham back in before I came to Slough, and a few of the players I brought with me when I started the team up here. And other guys were just guys that were trying to find and get on a new team and start from fresh. And really, through that first year, we've developed into what we've achieved now, and you know, we've originated a lot of homegrown talent. We've developed a good youth policy, and we've built our own hockey program in-house as such. And as to date we've got 8 teams in our organization, and they range from under 10s, 12s, 14s, 16s, 21s. We even have ladies ice hockey, and we have a recreational side. So we put together quite a large organization as a whole.
Now, Gary, today there's a really, really big match on for the guys. It's very important, isn't it? Because it determines whether they get promoted to the Premier League or not. What's your feelings?
Well, I mean, basically, I mean, it's probably the largest in Slough Jets history. I mean, this whole weekend as a whole, I mean, it's very important. And, you know, we've got to win both our games. If we get through the first game, then obviously the second game is going to be right down to the main crunch, and we're going to have to, you know, pull out all the stops and do the best job we can. But it's like I say, it's the biggest weekend in our history.
Now, Warren, you play defence in the Slough Jets, don't you? What did the actual training involve before you became an ice hockey player?
Before I became an ice hockey player, there really wasn't very much for me before that. My parents have been involved for a long time, so from the age of, I don't know, about 3, I've been involved in hockey. So, I mean, that's really all I've done. I've obviously played a little bit of football and rugby at school, but ice hockey's always been my primary sport.
Are you actually nervous now with this match on today? I mean, there's a heck of an atmosphere out there. How do you feel right now, or is it difficult to actually say how you feel?
It's quite hard, but we let ourselves down a little bit last Sunday, and now everything's sort of so much up in the air, and we have to score so many goals, and we have to make sure we don't let too many in. And, you know, this week in practice has been really tough. We've been trying to, you know, work on things which are more geared to goal scoring, where we haven't been doing that most of the season. We've just been taking our chances and not letting the rest of the other teams score any goals against us. So now we've got to change things a little bit, and it's, I mean, I don't know how it's going to go. Everybody's, you know, everybody's looking forward to it. We are very nervous though, obviously, because it's all today.
Charlie, you're the goalie, yeah?
That's right.
Have you always wanted to be an ice hockey player?
Yeah, ever since I was a kid. When back in New York City, hockey wasn't really big in the city itself, but there was big roller hockey around where I was living, and saw it, and I thought I loved it. And when I grew up a little bit, grew up a little bit more, went onto the ice. But goaltending wasn't what I wanted to do when I started. It was being a player and be the big shot and the goal scorer. But the coach thought that I would become a better goaltender, and he threw me in net, and I stayed there ever since and thoroughly enjoy it.
It's a very responsible position, isn't it? Now, what about the rules? Do the rules vary from ice hockey to ordinary hockey? Are they very different?
Well, in goaltending, yeah. As in field hockey, you're not allowed to catch the puck or the ball, and you're not allowed to stop play. Play has to keep flowing. Where in ice hockey, you can actually stop the play and control the tempo of the game by freezing the puck and by just killing dead the play, and let the players get the change off and on. So really, the goaltender in ice hockey can control the flow of the game, where in field hockey you can the play has to keep going and and making it move, where goaltending in hockey you can actually stop it.
Mm-hmm. Now, to actually watch ice hockey looks a really fast, dynamic, dangerous game. I know you've got the pads, but how much do they protect you?
They actually just help stop the initial impact. You do feel the shots. Like I said, the puck can go about 120 miles an hour. So with that fast, and the speed of the puck and the solidness of the rubber, it does hurt, and you do feel it. But it does stop the impact, so you don't feel it as much and doesn't hurt as much. It really could be if it hits you on flesh.
But I guess with a lot of injuries can come about twisting and turning, can't they?
That's right. That's what a lot of injuries come down. There's a lot of twisting, turning, where your body goes the wrong way from being pushed by one way, and things go and happen. But they're minor injuries in which, knock on wood, it doesn't happen a lot. And when it does happen, we do have a good physiotherapy around it here, and we're back into shape and back on the ice, hopefully in less than a week or so.
That's right, because you're all very fit guys anyway. Now, the crowd out there is an enormous crowd. Is it right that for an average game, you can actually attract about 1,500 people. I mean, I'm sure there's much more than that out there now, but does it actually spur you on that bit more?
That's right. The crowd is a big sport, especially at home, you know, when they've been cheering us on and just shouting away and just getting the boys drilling and just right up. Like I said, our building only holds about 1,500, but, you know, if you look out there, they're up on all over the place. And it's just so great, especially when they're screaming and shouting and giving that encouragement to go and to do better, especially with the tasks we've got to do. We've got to go out there and do. It's going to be tough, and with their support and their guidance and helping us out, I think we can do it.
Meeting the Slough Jets, and I hope you have too. So now back to Steve in the studio to see if they were successful in their bid for promotion. This is Elaine Ford at Slough Ice Arena for WMtv.
Thanks, Elaine. I'm happy to report the score was Slough Jets 13, Romford Raiders 6. So well done, chaps. Now then, we've got a competition for you. The Slough Jets have very kindly donated 6 of these wonderful T-shirts of assorted sizes, so we'd like your size on a postcard, together with the answer to this question. What is the name of the captain of the Slough Jets ice hockey team? The name of the captain of the Slough Jets ice hockey team. Answers on a postcard to the usual address at the end of the programme. Please don't phone us. We don't need the calls. And you can win one. Don't forget, put your size down on the card. Thank you very much, Elaine, for that. Time for a break now. Still to come, Kenneth Branagh officially opens the Spelthorne Arts Centre. We have a report, and Tony O'Rourke with a jazz band in a swimming pool. The mind boggles. It's 25 minutes past the hour, and you're watching WMtv.
Oh, you come with the sun. You come when it rains. Big city streets and small country lanes. Come in to help me whenever you can. Oh, you come if you're rich, you come if you're poor, 'cause everyone's welcome through my door. So won't you come and help me, whoever you are.
Welcome back. This is Scene on 7. Caught you. There we are. Incidentally, for those of you who were watching a couple of weeks ago and saw the snake that fell asleep in the jar, do you remember that one? Yeah, couldn't get out. Well, I'm pleased to report that as a result of being on this programme, nothing to do with me personally, but the snake laid 7 eggs. It did. 7 eggs. How about that? I've searched high and low for an item for this week's update, and it's come from a very unlikely source. That's S-O-U-R-C-E. You may remember that along with Tom Magner, we saluted National Science Week. All I got out of it was a frozen banana, and that snapped in 2. Anyway, believe it or not, one of the 1,000 plus events which took place, the subject of chocology, came up under the scrutiny of the boffins. A study of the 50 self-confessed chocolate addicts that took part was reported to be one of the highlights during the Bristol University's efforts. Apparently, craving for chocolate has been blamed on depressed mood, sensory gratification, and some of the 300 chemicals which it contains. I thought it was made of milk and cocoa butter, but never mind. Chocolate has come to signify luxury, reward and pleasure since the introduction of eating chocolate, as it was known, in 1847. Sales now exceed 3 billion, and the average Briton consumes about £20 per person annually. But the Swiss beat us by about £1 per person. According to a Gallup survey, a third of women prefer chocolate to making love, which according to my calculation means that 2/3 of women don't. Good. Every day we take for granted the culture, scenery and history of our country, but one group, the National Trust, is at the forefront of keeping Britain great. Joining me now to discover more is Verity Walker of the National Trust. Verity, welcome to WMtv.
Nice to be here.
Pleasure to have you. Right, what exactly does the National Trust do?
Well, we are almost 100 years old and we are a national charity. It's a bit unfortunate that our founders saw fit to call us the National Trust because people think we're either something to do with the government or something to do with a financial institution, and neither is the case.
What's the most important building, piece of greenery, heritage that we can look out for in this area? I know there are a lot of them, but is there one that is specifically important?
Really, it's all important. If we own it, it's important. The criteria for becoming a trust property is that that property or piece of ground or land has to be of national significance. We do own an awful lot of the Chilterns, and we own some magnificent larger estates such as Osterley Park, Cliveden, Basildon Park, to name but a few.
Right, where does the money come from? It must cost an awful lot of money to maintain these buildings. Where does the money come from?
It does indeed. Well, we have, fortunately, about £250,000 members living in Thames and Chilterns region, and their £24 annual subscription counts towards our finances greatly. We also get money from tenancies and also from legacies. A fair number of people remember us in their wills, and we're always very, very grateful for that.
But in line with their contributions, for 50p a week, they're making a significant contribution to the upkeep of some important buildings and heritage.
Absolutely, and the buildings that we own, we look after forever. We hold them inalienably. We can't ever sell or mortgage them.
Aligned with that, the National Trust also runs the National Garden Scheme. Can you tell me more about that?
Oh, I think the National Garden Scheme would shoot me if I said that the National Trust ran it. We do help, we participate, but the National Garden Scheme is a separate organisation. And we open many of our National Trust gardens in the larger estates and in the gardens in their own right for the NGS.
And people actually, I believe it's in Devon, I've certainly seen it in Devon on a gardening programme, open up their own gardens. Is there any reason why people can't open up their own gardens for visits?
Not at all. If you have a garden within this region that is your pride and joy, your little tiny plot or your great big plot, and you think that it is worthy of other people coming to see and you'd like to make a donation to charity at the same time, get in touch with your county organiser. You'll find the address in the yellow handbook on sale at most good bookshops.
One of the major attractions just outside Maidenhead, for example, as you mentioned earlier, is Cliveden. What's the NT's involvement in that?
Well, we own it. There's always a certain amount of confusion over Cliveden because there is, of course, a wonderful hotel as the tenant of the buildings. The money from that tenancy helps us to keep the buildings in good repair. And irrespective of who occupies that building, we have the responsibility to keep it standing forever, which is quite a tall order.
Certainly is, and a huge amount of restoration on that building alone.
Absolutely.
Is the bulk of the expenditure on restoration and maintenance?
Yes, it is. Yes, very much so.
Any idea of the figures? Huge amount of money nationally.
On that, well over £1 million, I would imagine.
Just on Cliveden alone?
I would think so, yes.
Amazing. Another feature throughout the rest of this year, for example, all contained in this brochure, which we've got just here somewhere, someone might be able to see it, that one there, right, okay, is the events that are happening as part of your schedule for this year. Many and varied. I mean, it's pages and pages of it. I know we haven't got time to discuss all of them, but can you tell me about just some of the items contained in there?
Anyone who has one of those in their hand has no excuse to be bored this summer. Thank you. We have everything ranging from open-air theatre at Cliveden. We've got a Comedy of Errors and Twelfth Night, great popular open-air theatre. We've got music and firework events at Osterley, Basildon Park, up at Stowe Landscape Gardens. We've got a fabulous lantern light concert at Claydon House. That's a little further north from here, but an easy drive. And lots of little events, painting day courses, walks and talks. Just contact me for one of those brochures and you'll have a whole summer of entertainment at your fingertips.
Pre-organised and just dependent on the weather. That's the shameful thing, isn't it, really?
Well, that's true, but Even our audiences even soldier on under brollies when it's torrential, and the events always go ahead, whatever the weather.
You've obviously done this for some time,
Yes.
the National Trust. I mean, is it very, very successful? People come from miles around. We're very lucky, actually, to be located where we are, because very close to this area, as you said, just a short drive away, is some of the most important pieces of heritage and architecture in the country.
Indeed, that's right.
If anyone's really interested in not only in the events that are coming up, but in the National Trust, in general, what should they do?
Well, we have a special box office number for people to ring. It's 0494 522234. I think the number will be shown on the screen.
It's on there right now.
Marvellous.
Just repeat it. It's 0494 522 234, and that's the box office for National Trust events. It's open from Monday to Friday.
And by attending one of our events, you're having a great time and you're also helping a charity.
Because the funds generated by the event then go to the National Trust.
Indeed, that's right.
Excellent. Verity, wish you great success with these. Hope to attend a couple myself. I know everyone else is very interested in them.
We'll have to sort that out.
Look forward to it. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're constantly bombarded by members of the acting profession with complaints about the failing film industry in this country and West End shows being perilous to put on unless Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber's name is on it. Now, the darling of the lovies at the moment and the man whose shoulders it all seems to rest on is Kenneth Branagh. Mr. Branagh was therefore obviously the choice to officially open the Spelthorne Arts Centre recently. Our reporter, Bubba Mitchell, went along to meet him.
We've come along to the opening of the Staines Old Town Hall Arts Centre. Unfortunately, Simon Brandt, Spelthorne's favourite son, couldn't make it today, but the mayor's here and the band's here, and somebody called Kenneth Branagh as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, very, very nice to be here. And it's very invigorating to witness the commitment to and the enthusiasm for the arts, which is so evident here. The arts can be a rather meaningless phrase used in its generic sense, but if you leaf through the Arts Centre brochure for the first season here, that term's brought to life on every page in the live children's theatre, young people's jazz workshops and jam sessions, dance classes, the exhibitions and poetry readings. There's so much that's creative and inspiring, and not forget, enjoyable and sheer fun. Very great honour. I'm very flattered and grateful. I've never opened a room before. I've closed a few. I'm very grateful to be able to open this one. There you go. Whoops. Oh, okay, try that. Try that. There you go. A
introduce, ladies and gentlemen, to the Old Town Hall Art Centre, coupled with the name of Kenneth Branagh.
Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about why you think these sorts of community centres are so important.
Well, I think it's a place to come. It's a place where the community can come and meet each other. It's a place to, have coffee, have a few beers, and to do any number of activities. This place wraps them all up, from painting to dancing to music, things that get people talking, that also involve a sense of community, like in the very construction of it. Both the impact of the council in being brave enough to refurbish this after, so I hear, a vote, just one vote stopping it from being demolished, and a local business like the Heathrow getting involved in supporting it, and then clearly just talking to people outside, people saying literally it's changed the quality of their lives, because there's a focus. I don't mean it takes the place of the rest of their lives, but it's a place to go, it's a focus, and I think that it also does a thing of, amongst communities, bringing very, very disparate age groups and different types of people together in a way that is informal, because it's fun. So I think they're genuine, not just art centres, but they're sort of community centres. Yeah. From that point of view, it's a miracle that the current climate is Belfort should say, well, let's do it. So well done them.
And also, you're from just down the road in Reading yourself. What advice would you give to young people in the community that they're interested in genuinely getting involved in the arts, making a career in the arts?
Well, this is a great place to start, and young people, I think, if they're interested in my side of things, then the youth theatre that's planned for this place, I think, is a very good place to start. Usually those groups are comprised of all sorts of informal and formal sessions for very young kids, for older young people, and that's a way to start. But just to come here, I think, come here and look at the programme and just start. If they're doing things like circus skills workshops and they get 3-year-olds in, then I think a place like this gives you a kind of reference, a frame of reference. It allows you to just see what there is to do. It allows you to, it informs you. It starts allowing you to make up your mind. So if you think you're interested, you should come to a place like this.
Well, the Arts Centre here in Staines is now officially open. We've had a chat with my mate Ken, and now it's back to the studio and Steve.
Bubba's mate Ken. Thanks, Bubba. The thriving Spelthorne Arts Centre would like to see you at their many and varied events. You can call them for details on this number, 0784 461 565. That's 0784 461 565. And I'm told that our Ken signed autographs, posed for photographs, was very chatty, and seemed really to be a very nice bloke. So reaffirms your faith in humanity, doesn't it? If you're considering a life of crime, my next guest may be able to tell you why that is not a good idea. Helen Draycott is a principal Crown prosecutor. But what do the Crown Prosecution Service do exactly? Helen, welcome to the studio. Can you tell us?
Yes, I can. Our job is to review and, if appropriate, prosecute those cases that are brought to us by the police after they've investigated them. And in doing that, we have to consider whether there's enough evidence to take the case to court at all, and if there is, then we go on to consider if it's in the public interest for the prosecution to continue.
Does it depend on whether you're likely to get a result as far as a conviction is concerned, basically?
No, the way that the test is described is that there is a realistic prospect of conviction, and that's the way it's described in the Code for Crown Prosecutors, which is a publicly available document, and that sets out some of the criteria we might consider when deciding if there's enough evidence to proceed with a case against a particular individual.
I think it's fair to say there are quite a few misconceptions about the Crown Prosecution Service, about the type of facility that they actually are.
Yes.
And at the moment you're having exhibitions and various functions to dispel those myths.
Yes,
what do they contain?
Yes, that's right. We've been running a rolling programme throughout the 13 CPS areas in England and Wales, and we've been locally in the Severn Thames area, of which Berkshire and Buckinghamshire is part, been involved in having exhibitions. There was a big 2-day exhibition at the Reading Central Library, for example. Some of our staff have been speaking to victim support, having magistrates around the office, and just generally becoming involved in all sorts of things to make the public more aware of what we do.
When you do prosecute, what are the criteria for prosecution?
Well, there are 2 tests. The first is the one I've mentioned, which is there enough evidence to proceed with the case? In other words, would there be a realistic prospect of conviction?
Is that a lengthy process?
It involves a simple test of reading through the papers that the police give us and deciding whether or not there is that realistic prospect. So you take into account things like, can the defendant be proved to have been the person to have done it? Do the witnesses all conflict each other, or is there a coherent thread to what they're saying? The sort of things that you think would get the case home. And as you gain an experience as a prosecutor, obviously you get to know the sort of evidence that will succeed in a court.
And what's the second one?
The second one is it in the public interest to proceed? And that's sometimes one that causes us more difficulty. But essentially, would the public want us to proceed with the case? And we have to apply that test on behalf of the public. And that involves such things as, well, let me give you an example of a case that I recently discontinued because of the public interest criteria. A shoplifter, middle-aged woman, no apparent reason for stealing from a shop, got to court, and her solicitor produced a medical evidence showing that she had been recently treated for depression and so on. And on that basis, although the evidence was there to proceed with the case, obviously it wasn't thought to be appropriate to take the matter any further, and that case was discontinued.
The legal process is notorious for being expensive.
Yes.
Solicitors, lawyers, court costs, all that sort of thing. Paying for witnesses to have the day off work, all those sort of things.
Yeah.
How is the CPS funded?
The CPS is part of the civil service, so we're all paying for the CPS. It's a nationally funded service, taxpayers' money. And we are accountable for the money that we do use.
So you have to give value for money, basically.
Yes, we do.
What is your accountability?
We are answerable to the people through Parliament, and the Attorney General is the person who speaks for us in Parliament, and the Director of Public Prosecutions, Barbara Mills, also will answer for us to the Attorney General and obviously to the public in that way. But we're not accountable. We are accountable. What I'm trying to say is that the cost element that there is in the Crown Prosecution Service, we try to save money by being as effective and efficient as we can, but we don't drop cases because they're too expensive to run.
Right.
And I think that's a popular misconception.
That's one of the main misconceptions,
yes,
in
it
fact.
is.
You're a principal Crown Prosecutor,
Yeah.
but presumably that's quite senior. You've gone through a couple of grades, is it? Do you
That's
start
right.
off as a Crown Prosecutor and then become a sub-principal?
Yes, senior actually, but yes,
Right.
more or less right. Yes, Crown Prosecutor to start with.
And how long does that take to become a principal?
It can take, well, it depends if there are any vacancies. I mean,
Of course.
that's the way that it goes. But you can become a senior Crown Prosecutor in 2 years after you join the Crown Prosecution Service as a Crown Prosecutor. And then after that, it's subject to availability and obviously experience and ability.
And suitability and merit.
Yes.
Good. How do you actually become a Crown Prosecutor in the first place? What sort of training do you need?
You have to be either a solicitor or a barrister, fully qualified solicitor or barrister.
And that in itself takes quite a long time.
It does, yes. I mean, for myself, it was 6 years before I was qualified, 3 years at university, a year at Law College, and then 2 years articled, in fact, to a firm in Reading, and then joined the Crown Prosecution Service after that. And obviously, once you join the Crown Prosecution Service, you take part in quite a lot of in-house training and so on, so that you're approaching matters in the way that the Crown Prosecution Service expects.
Yeah, it is a lengthy training. All the
It
books
is.
you have to read through and all the case histories and God knows what you
Oh,
have
yes,
to study.
yes, that's right.
I've got friends who are solicitors, and that in itself takes a long time. Is it a popular division of the law to be attached to?
What, the Crown Prosecution
Yeah.
Service itself? Yes, I think it is. I think we deal with a very interesting side of the law. And we deal with criminal law, and I think most people find that a very fascinating side of the law.
Certainly, I mean, it's just a fascinating subject, the law in general. I mean, I think people could just sit and study it for hours and hours and hours.
Yes.
If the public would like more information about the CPS and its functions, what should they do?
Well, they should make themselves available to come along to one of the functions that we are holding if they find out about that. Otherwise, they can phone one of the CPS officers, numbers in the yellow pages, as they say, and get some of the literature that we have available for them there.
Great. Thank you very much, Helen.
You're very
Thanks
welcome.
for coming
Thank
in.
you.
A little bit more information for you from WMtv. Now, don't forget that on the excellent 24-hour moving magazine service, there are some freebies. Freebies at the supermarket, some terrific books and games. The moving magazine is designed for your benefit. It's also packed with information, birthday messages, film and video reviews, record reviews, and much more. So check it out, if only for the freebies. I tell you, it's like giveaway city around here at the moment. Did you see Scene on 7 and Terry Adlam featured on Surf Potatoes on Channel 4 last week? Well, let's put the record straight right here. We are Windsor and Middlesex TV. We have more than 500 viewers, and the reason our show is repeated for so many occasions during the week is for the benefit of you, the cable subscriber, who can't always watch at 5 p.m. each day, and that's the way they like it. So if you agree or disagree, please let us know. The address is coming up in just a few minutes. Now then, what do you get if you cross a jazz band, a female lead vocalist, and a leisure pool? A drip? Wet? No. The answer is a fun night out, and our resident fun seeker, Tony O'Rourke, has more.
If you're wondering what I'm doing with a unicyclophone round my neck at the Windsor Leisure Pool, keep watching! You're the leisure pool manager. This is brilliant. What a great idea to have cabaret in a swimming pool and all the audience are down in the pool. Is this the first time this has ever been done?
Well, we run a regular slot now. First Wednesday of every month we have a band, different sort of band, and we try and bring the changes, middle of the road stuff, Blues Brothers, jazz tonight. We've got a German Strollers band coming along in a month's time. So you name it, we try and bring it in.
You've got a junior disco as well, haven't you?
That's right. We've got junior discos third Friday of every month, and really that's a guest DJ coming in and doing dedications and requests and that sort of thing for everyone.
Was that all your idea, was it?
Well, we try and do a variety of things to bring people in, really, and Windsor Leisure Pool isn't just somewhere to swim, it's an entertainment centre as far as we're concerned, and putting on a variety of activities to give people a range of experience is what it's all about.
And it's all free?
It is, well, no extra charge, normal admission prices, anyone who wants to come along and enjoy the fun.
What about this band that's been on? We've got a band up there strolling now.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah?
Yeah,
What about the girl, lovely young lady who was singing earlier on?
Nice, yeah, she's a nice voice, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't do that at Northolt, do they?
No, not at all. Not really. They don't sing as good as that.
How does it feel watching a cabaret when you're in the water rather than sitting in a nice dry theatre seat or what have you?
It's better, isn't it? It's more relaxing, isn't it, Eddie?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's more sort of...
You're feeling good at the same time, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, you going to come again?
Yeah,
yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
You're the agent who's actually put this whole thing together. Have you ever booked an act to work in a swimming pool before?
No, the answer to that is an absolute no. In 25 years in the business, never in a swimming pool. Never.
And how do you think they've coped with it?
Absolutely brilliant. But then the atmosphere here is good, you know, and the Windsor Leisure Pool is probably one of the best places that you could come to for a whole night's entertainment.
Right. Do you envisage that in the future that there are going to be a lot more people in the water watching the acts?
Oh, absolutely. In the water, over in the cafe, they're having a meal, sitting having a drink, making a whole night after they've done their gym, their saunas, or whatever they're going to do.
This is going to expand, isn't it? It's going to go out of control soon. It's going to be on every night of the week before long.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. That's the aim of the whole thing.
if you fancy a bite in a cabaret, why not pop down for a splash? This is Tony O'Rourke, WMTV, at the Windsor Leisure Pool.
Thank you, Tony. Now, the Windsor Leisure Pool is waiting for you to drop in. Not literally into the water, but just to drop in and have a fun night out with them. Give them a call for more details on 0753 850 004. That's 0753 850 004. All right, that's for more details or if you'd like to drop in. If you'd like to make even more use of the moving magazine, you can call our answer phone service on 0753 811 817. I'll give you the address a little bit later on. For now, National Pet Week runs from the 30th of April to the 8th of May. If you ring the following number, you will get one of these brochures, which is full of all the details and fun going on in the local area. And you can contact David Adams. He's from the RSPCA. The number is 0494 873 836. That's 0494 873 836, and he'll tell you about all the events that are going on locally and how you can help them to raise funds. Now then, don't forget the competition to win the Slough Jets t-shirts, or write to us about anything you wish, really. The address, as usual, is Scene on 7, WMTV, PO Box 7, Slough SL3 6ET. That's SL3 6ET. Don't forget, if you have a message for the moving magazine, you'd like a request or some sort of thing on there, please use 0753 811 817. That's our answer phone service, 0753 811 817. Thank you very much to all my guests this week on the programme, and to you for watching. I hope that you'll join us next week when another Scene on 7 takes to the air. For now, goodbye, have a great week. Bye-bye.